Gentlemen, congratulate yourselves for being selected as Bullheaded Mining Corp's first international excursion crew. We're sending you to northern Alberta, Canada to lend a hand to the hard workers on the Athabascan oil sands. This extraction began in 1967 and will continue for years to come. You'll only be spending 6 months in Fort McMurray, mining alongside Canada's finest. Before we send you off, you need to recognize that Canada's culture is not like ours. In this briefing, we'll give you the necessary information to survive 6 months in Fort McMurray. Ever wonder why Canadians apologize all the time? It's because they don't have free speech. If the Canadian government finds your expression unreasonable, you can absolutely end up in jail. You boys are outsiders, so you already stick out, and women in Canada don't put up with the catcalling you do in New York. The first and most important rule of surviving in Canada is to mind your manners. Remember that free speech is not absolute. National Geographic has deemed the job we're sending you into as the world's most destructive oil operation, and during your stay you might encounter locals who reflect that attitude. If you ever find yourself in a confrontation, it's important to remember two things. One, your business in Fort McMurray is only to extract and serve. And two, say sorry. In Canada, sorry goes a much longer way than in the States. If you apologize and the other party still finds issue with your presence, well, that makes them the bad guy for impeding your Canadian freedom of conscience. You'll find in Canada that most people are polite regardless of the issue. If you find yourself facing an upset environmentalist, well, there ought to be better company just down the road. Canadian culture is actually much more welcoming to outsiders than American culture. While a vast majority of Canadians are friendly, it doesn't hurt to know how to blend in. This includes your appearance and language. Firstly, smile often and grow out a mustache. Canadians statistically have more mustaches. Instead of saying about, say about. Instead of ending words like color with OR, Canadians take the British approach of ending the word color with OUR. Because Canadian English uses British spelling and American English uses Anglo-French spelling, Canadians write words like center with the R before the E, whereas we're used to placing the E before the R. You'll find in grocery stores that bags of milk are commonplace, and in Canada, this actually isn't considered weird. When dining, you address Canadian bacon as pea-meal bacon or back bacon, and American bacon as bacon strips, streaky bacon, or just bacon. Canadian bacon hardly exists in Canada. The Canadian bacon we get with our Hawaiian pizzas, people from Canada call that ham. We made this instructional guide to familiarize you with Canadian culture so that it's not out of the water and into the frying pan when you arrive. Now that we've covered the verbal and nonverbal differences, cultural and social differences, and the different rules between Canadians and Americans, I trust your crew to go out and make Bullheaded Mining Corp proud.